great to have people waiting. Stanchions up, it's like, hook it, you start moving away. It's like being at a concert where the lights dim down. You're like, all right, here we go, we're gonna get started. But thank you for coming. This is really special for us because this is the first time that we have had Nautilus on demo at any audio show in Canada ever. These have been around for 33 years, and Montreal Audiofest 2026 is the debut of the brand new Nautilus. I say brand new because they were just made we got them about a month ago. So they're not new. This has been the same speaker for 33 years. But it is the first time we've ever had it on the demo at a show in Canada. So y'all are going to get to experience something fun. We're going to talk about the shape, the design, and why it looks the way it does. This was not about building a cool-looking speaker. It was about building a speaker that didn't sound like a speaker. When John Bowers started the company in 1966, the goal was to build the perfect loudspeaker. And when we talk to our engineers at Class A or any big audio company, they'll tell you that the best audio system in the world will get you about 5% of reality. So we have a long way to go before we get perfect. But his vision was to get as close as possible. And in 1983, he brought on, 83 or 84, he brought on an engineer by the name of Lawrence Dickey. And Lawrence was tasked with the new 800 series at that time. And he started working on it and figuring out cabinet resonances, and what he came up with was called the matrix bracing system. And that system is still being used today in our brand new 2021 D4s, our 801 D4s. That system was so good that John named the line the 800 Matrix line. So that bracing system did such a good job. And what John realized is, you understand cabinets. Yes?
What's that name again?
Lawrence Dickey. Yep.
D-I-C-K-E-Y?
I.E. So.
I.E.
But he went by Dick. I.E. Thank you. He just went by Dick. Talk to Dick.
Thank you.
But he got, you understand cabinets. You understand how they affect sound. I'm starting a project, and I want to bring you on board because this is one of the most important parts of this project is the cabinet. You get it. So, unfortunately, that was in 1985. In 1987, John Bowers passed away, so he did not get to see this come to light. But the board of B&W Loudspeakers tasked Lawrence, hey, would you carry on and would you get this done in his honor? And he's like, yeah, of course, absolutely. So from 1987 to 1993, he worked on this tirelessly. That was his only job, was work on this speaker. Make a speaker, it doesn't sound like speaker. And what he realized, there's two major problems with a cabinet that affect sound. The first one is diffraction. And diffraction is simply defined like this. That is when a driver or anything making sound has a flat surface next to it. My voice does not sound normal. But when you remove that flat surface, you get that natural sound. So that was problem one. How do we get rid of the cabinet? And they tried open back, they tried a bunch of things, but that's why we have this shape. We try to remove as much of that surface area that would be next to a driver as possible. Because this would be pretty wide. And all of this is just no bueno for sound. So that was problem number one. That's why it looks like a snowman. Get rid of that surface area. Curve it, get as much surface as you can away. The other problem is the sound wave that travels behind the cone. So the way a speaker works, a driver has a positive signal, negative signal, and then it gets back to stealth. That is a cycle. And however many times you do that per second is a hertz. 500 hertz, 20,000 hertz, whatever it is, that's what a cycle is. So we hear this. We don't necessarily hear this, but it's still creating a sound wave behind the driver. And that's a problem. Because if you have a square box, that sound wave hits this wall and comes back in. It's a problem. How do we fix that? So the thought was, let's dissipate it with a cone. So, complete opposite way a cheerleader cone works. If I have a cheerleader cone and I talk into it, it gets louder. It amplifies that sound. But if I flip the cone over and I talk into it this way, everything gets muffled. You don't hear that sound anymore. So that was the thought. It's like, okay, we'll taper a tube. And we'll let that sound wave just dissipate so it doesn't come back and affect the driver. Now, the smaller the driver, the higher the frequency, the less exertion. It's not pushing really far, it's pushing really fast. So it's not exerting a ton of sound wave behind it, just lots of it. So that taper tube didn't need to be that long. Next speaker down needs to be a little bit longer because it's pushing a little bit further. Same thing here. All good until we get to the bass driver. And his math was, God, I need a 13.5-foot tapered tube for this bass driver. That's not going to work in the living room. John's not going to be happy about that. Jeez. How do I do this? Well, he was having tea on his deck one morning after a rain storm, and he saw a snail. He went, oh, the snail isn't just a shell. The snail actually goes up into the shell. So if I wrap it, and the ding, 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 the brain started going, he's like, all right, and he went to work with wood, built it flat, wrapped around, and years of developing comes to what you see here. So this is a single chamber that wraps around to here. And then that sound wave gets to come back through, and by then, it's not going to affect the driver. And that's why it looks the way it does, and that's how it got its name. It's shaped like the Nautilus, which is that shell creature that you see in movies and things like that. So that's how it got its name, and that's where that concept came from, is just spiraling. And now we can have that wave. It doesn't matter. That wave could go wherever it really wants to go. But that was natural to do. And it was duplicatable. So that's how it got its shape. Now this is a 3-piece system. We mold the left and right side. And then we mold a front piece as 3 separate parts. And then they all get put together. When we first started doing this, we had a Formula One race car body manufacturer making our shells for us. And it was somewhere around 2020, I think, they said, we're done. We're not going to do this anymore. And our company was like, decision time. What do we do? Do we find somebody else to do it? Because it's going to cost a lot of money. Do we bring it in-house? Or do we just call it a day and retire the Nautilus? We decided to bring it in-house. We had just opened up our Southwater research facility, tons of space, so we had plenty of room for R&D to be placed, and lo and behold, we brought it in-house. At one point, this was 26 months on backlog because of that stoppage of like, what are we going to do? Because the orders keep coming in, we need to make a decision. But lo and behold, we got the mold. We made a second mold so that we can start cycling through, laying the next one before the first one's cured. We have gotten the lead time down to about 8 months. So if you're interested, put the money down, not deposit, paid in full. We will have you ready to go in about 8 months or so. But everything is built to order. There is no stock. We don't have shelves waiting to be painted. Everything is built to order based on what you want for your system. And I was asked, because I've been doing some demos of the 800, which one's better? I'm like, you can't say one's better than the other. We like to say this is a 67 Camaro RSSS convertible. Big V8 engine, manual everything, but just a blast to drive. 801 D4 and 801 Signature, that's a Tesla Plaid. Like, modern to the hilt, drives itself, fast, quiet, efficient, it's eco-friendly, fun, but a different experience. And you got to know where you are. You know, what's your thing? You know, so why I can't say one's better than the other. It's your choice as to what the experience is. So we're going to start off with a track that we use across our entire line, and this is no exception because this is one of our exceptional speakers. The track is from Freya Riding. The track's called "Lost Without You," and it is her capturing the moment that she made a decision of her lifetime. She was about to get married, and as the date got a little closer, her fiance said, I'm not ready. I need to go home, and I need to protect her. And it was the moment she said, okay, go. Was the moment she's like, what did I do? And she captures that moment in this song. I think it's really an emotional song of, I screwed up. What did I do? It's a really, really great emotional song. So this is Freya Riding doing "Lost Without You."
Watching you go, it's like no other pain I've ever known. To love someone so much, to have no control. You said I wanna see the world, and I said go. But I think I'm lost without you. I just feel crushed without you. I've been strong for so long, I never thought how much I needed you. I think I'm lost without you. Strangers rushing past, just trying to get home. My world is crumbling.
brought in a song. That's the beauty of music, is to capture that emotion in a song. So, 33 years old. Nothing's changed. However, we are still learning from this speaker. Everything we do today has stemmed from what we got out of this. The tapered tube is used in almost all of our products, including in-wall and in-ceiling speakers. This is a solid aluminum tweeter housing that goes on our 801. You look familiar? Our 800 series is morphing into this. It's taken 33 years, but it is slowly morphing into that speaker. This is our turbine head. This is where our mid-range is sitting in our 800 series. Same thing here. It's the same concept. It's tapered. It allows back waves to dissipate. It's inert, so it doesn't give us any resonances. We learned a lot from what we got out of Nautilus, even 33 years later. Even our box speakers, our 600 series has a tapered tube in the tweeter inside the cabinet. Now we sell the fraction, but it's also not a $115,000 speaker. It's a very affordable, attainable speaker. It's a great starting point for anyone who wants to get into hi-fi. And it gives you that Bowers Wilkins technology and sound. And they're $115,000 a pair to start. If you want black, midnight blue, or silver, with a 2-meter silver speaker cable. Anything beyond that, we're going to have to figure out how much it costs, which is why it takes more than 36 man days to get your speaker. There's a lot of work that's involved. But you can get it in any color you want, obviously. We chose McLaren Papaya. And if anybody saw the car out there, I don't know how you miss it. The intent was to have a pair of speakers that matches the car. We've done lots of Nautilus to match Ferraris, Bugattis, Aston Martins. I want the Aston Martin Racing Green to match my DB12. Got it. Get us the paint code, layer it for you, you tell us which one you want, and we'll go to town. Same thing with the wire. You don't have to use our wire, but it's 100% silver. But if you want to use DR Acoustics or Kimber, fine, let us know, because we will talk with them and we will work to get that in the system. Because the wire, there's no speaker terminals on this. The wiring is direct and it goes into the crossovers. And as I said before, these are each unique. So there is a left and right crossover. Once we get that thing sanded down, we test it. We listen to the tones and we figure out, okay, these drivers need to be crossed over at these points. This is this speaker's crossover. And it will have a white RCA input next to the XLR. This one will have the red RCA input and XLR next to it, so you know which one is right, which one is left. They should always stay together. It's built for that speaker. You can also see that we've got 4 channels of power on each one. This is as close to an active speaker as you can get, because each driver has its own channel of power coming from an active crossover. Now we recommend 200 watts per channel. Don't recommend doing 1500 watt monoblock, 500 watts, 250 and 20. Keep it the same. Try to keep it the same. If you like Mac, 452s here, 452s there, you should be good to go. If you like Class A, we're using the Delta stereos. If you really want to go mono, go ahead. 4 monos, that's a pretty big stack of gear, but keep it in sync, because these guys will make sure that that gets just what it needs to operate properly. So the next track is going to kind of show off some of the dynamics, the capabilities of this speaker. This plays below 20 hertz. This is a track we discovered on accident. We were at a dealer in Ohio setting up for a show a couple of years back. They had a brand new showroom. They were doing a grand opening. They asked, could you bring Nautilus? And it just so happens we had discussed taking Nautilus on tour for a couple of shows that year. So we're like, yeah, we can do that. So we get to the showroom, he gave us the space and said, here's the room I'm thinking. We set it up, listen, like, let's let's not do the long wall. Let's try the short wall. It's not working. Let's go over here where the door opens up, even though it's closed. Let's see how that sounds. And we were just like, the tracks we use, like for riding, it's like, it's not, why isn't it working? What's wrong? And turn the volume down to discuss like, what should we do to really make this speaker sing? And while we're talking, we go, what's that? He's like, what are you talking about? I was like, listen. And then we heard again. He's like, is that coming from the speakers? And we looked, and what Cobuzz did is like, well, we're done with the Marion Hill track, and you don't have anything queued up. I think maybe this will work for you. And it threw this track on. And lo and behold, we're like, oh my God, let's back this up and try again. And we were just floored, like, wow, does this work? So the artist's name is Francine 13th. And we had to discover a little bit about her, because the track we're using, we're like, we're gonna use this, but what do we say? So looking into her, she describes herself as an immigrant from Venus who is settled in Dallas to begin her afterlife. That's an artist for you. And her music kind of speaks that way of this, what am I listening to? Wow. So we love the track. It throws sound everywhere. It's got a really good deep bass. And I think it plays well on these speakers to kind of show just how good these are as a all-in-one, full range speaker. So this is Francine 13 doing Queen.
This ruins it for everything else.
Yes, this is so good.
You live all your days according to his way. Oh, Mary, never show your true face, pretending how great. Oh, Mary, what good is your crown with your heart on the ground? Oh, Mary, oh, God save the Queen, with the throne made of stone. Long live the Queen, with a life not her own. Be brave and warm. It gets colder. And when you feel weak, the king gets older. What good is your crown with your heart on the ground? Oh, Mary, oh, God save the Queen, with the throne made of stone. Long live the Queen, with a life not her own. Oh, God save the Queen, with the
What do you expect from somebody from Venus? That's for me. So, while this is not perfect, we already discussed perfect is so far down the line. It really speaks to John's vision. Speaking of the cabinet as little effect as possible on the sound. I think it does a great job. Again, this is a trade show. It's really hard to get really precision sound, but these speakers, I think, are the most transparent speaker we've ever built. Are they as powerful as the 801s? It's for you to decide. There's a lot more technology in there. They are a more potent speaker, I guess, for me to say. This is a classic that I'm really happy we did not cut the cord on. And that F1 team said, we're not going to do these anymore. So we're still making it, again, built to order. And I think as an ode to John Bowers, we should finish with something that is orchestral, something that is strings here at a symphony. Symphonies are tough, real symphony recordings, but we found something that we really liked. This is from the TV series The Crown. The track is called Your Majesty, and it's a really great track that just builds. It just builds and builds and builds and builds, and it gets to a crescendo and just stops. And I think it really, it shows off that orchestra, it shows off all of the elements that you get at a symphony, but in a more pop culture type of way. And again, with John Bowers being such a classic music, orchestra, opera guy, that's really why he latched on to speakers, is he wanted to get that at home. I think it's perfect. We finish it up with a track with his orchestra. So this is Your Majesty from the soundtrack to the TV series The Crown. Any questions about movies? I take anybody's order.
Well, I just
Yes,
got
yes.
I'd like to make an order. No, just kidding. I just wanted to know, have you improved them over the 30 years, or is the original design as is?
Same as it ever was. The only change we made, when we first put it into production, we found that changing this tweeter was not fun. It was not a fun task. So what we did, we added this little piece that allows us to get in there to change the tweeter a little bit easier. That was a year-ish or so into production. Other than that, this speaker has not changed in 33 years. It's the same materials, it is the same drivers, it is the same voice coils, it is the same motor systems, it is the same concept as it was 33 years ago. The only thing we've really changed is our crossovers. The look, and the electronics inside, because again, we don't make electronics. We make electronic components to go with the speaker. We don't make capacitor. We don't make that stuff. And as those suppliers changed, we had to change how we built the crossover. But that's really the only thing that has seen changes over the years is the crossover. But as far as the speaker is concerned, that is the only thing that did not happen on speaker number 1. As we learned, this is not easy to fix. And we want to try and make it somewhat easy to fix. Don't get me wrong, service is not easy on these. That was not a fun job. And we didn't want that, so we wanted to fix that before it went too far. So a year or so in, we changed that. But other than that, the speaker has not changed in 33 years. The only thing that's new is these are about a month and a half old. They're not 33 years old.
The color changed. I wasn't there at the presentation, but are we talking about titanium, aluminum, or it's aluminum.
The drivers?
Okay, yeah.
The drivers
No, but I mean,
This?
only the tweeter.
Yeah, all aluminum. All 4 drivers are aluminum. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
The body is fiberglass.
Yeah.
The drivers are aluminum. Yes.
the flat diaphragm. You say anything about that?
I don't know why they chose that. I have no idea why they chose that. It could be exertion. It could be the frequencies that they're trying to hit with it. I'm not an acoustic engineer. If I was, I wouldn't be here. I'd be in England working on speakers.
But also
But
aluminum.
I will ask about that. If I ever get back there, I want to ask about that. That's a good question, because I was wondering it sitting here. I was like, why is that flat?
Yeah,
Go
there's
that route.
a difference between the other ones being dome and cone shape and that one being flat, like the material differences or construction differences. If it's also aluminum, just how they did that. Yes.
Slight. But this is an inverted cone because we're trying to move air into the room, where this is trying to disperse, so having a dome is a little bit different. I've never seen a dome bass driver. I've seen a dome in the middle, but I've never seen a dome bass driver. It's always trying to push that.
Right.
Any other questions? Sure.
The top of the line speakers that you guys produce in the Nautilus, how much?
2 different atoms. I always tell these guys at the beginning, this is a 67 Camaro RSSS convertible. 801 is a Tesla S Plaid. Like, they're both a ton of fun to drive in their own way. Or, you know, if you're a Corvette guy, 63 Stingray versus a 2026 mid-engine ZR1. Like, they're both going to be a lot of fun, but they're different. It's a different experience. What do you love? What do you like?
What does the Nautilus does better?
Transparency. Transparency. This is the only speaker I've ever heard that disappeared from the room. And I will tell you, you didn't get that here, but we had an experience center in Boston when I first started this job. And we had a room dedicated for Nautilus. And it was isolated. Dual doors. The entire room was suspended within the walls of the building. Dual doors. When you close that door, there's no echo here at all. And I was with a group of 5. There was 1 seat, 2 seats. And I was the last one in the room, and I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna come over here where the control panels are. I'll wait my turn. And I stood back, nowhere near the sweet spot. Patrick turned on the first song, and I went, what the heck? It was worse than that. I was like, and he just shook his head like, yup. The sound was coming from 15 feet behind the wall that they were in front of, up here, out of the sweet spot. It was like, whoa. And as we got through the next track, I started to go, all right, my brain cannot comprehend that that's where the sound is coming from. So I was just like, all right, let me walk towards this thing. And it was like, I was about 3.5 feet away before I'm like, okay, there. My brain is now going, that's where the sound's coming from. And when I backed up, it just disappeared again. And that was the first time I've ever heard a pair of speakers disappear, and I've never heard it since. Never heard it since. And I've heard some very interesting systems, but that was a game changer. And that's when I realized, wow, these they got it. They got it with this. And that's what should happen. So if I were to put on a concert, my favorite, Alice in Chains Unplugged, and throw that on, I'd feel like that stage is right there, because there is no speaker in the room. There was no speaker in the room that day. Even though they were there making sound, I couldn't get my brain to comprehend that that was the speaker that was making the sound. So it's the only speaker that's ever done that. In my experiences, I'm sure I'll get it somewhere else at some point in time, but that's the only time I've ever heard that. So that's what makes this speaker different from that. I've never heard I've heard the 800s get really close, but nowhere to that, where I was just like, dude, the brain is just not comprehending this at all. Okay?
So what about a crossover? Is it a crossover, like old school, or it's kind of a DSP?
Nope. There is no DSP here. This is just a crossover. It's an active,
old school
powered crossover. And it is built for each speaker to know this is the frequency that you got to stop. This is the frequency you've got to stop, and this is the frequency you have to stop. And it's different for every single speaker out
so
there.
much power?
Every speaker needs a channel power.
Oh yeah, okay.
So each one needs 4 channels of power. Okay? And it should be balanced. It should be at least 200 watts each, even though you're never going to need 200 watts up here, or actually anywhere in here, but it should be balanced. And the crossovers will take care of it. They'll understand what needs to go on at the speaker level. Okay?
What is the wildest color you've seen on these?
We have one in Southwater, not Worthing, in Southwater, that was painted with the British flag.
Yeah.
They painted it with the British flag, but that's the wildest one I've seen in person. But we also have the 30th anniversary edition in our office in Carlsbad, and that was done with a one-of-a-kind paint, which is a pearlescent white, which is made to mimic the inside of a Nautilus shell. And that was our 30th anniversary bespoke parrots. That's one of one that lives with us at the facility.
There's photos of that one.
Yeah.
They did release photos.
Pictures don't do it justice. You can get an idea, but when you see it in person, you're like, whoa, this is really, really amazing to see that finish. You know, and we get to see it at the facility in California. Not often enough. I'm only there 2, maybe 3 times a year, but yeah, it's fun. It's fun. Any other questions?
Well, speaking of the amplifiers, are you running same wattage for each speaker, or do you?
Yeah, this is a 250 by 2, so it's a stereo amp. So each driver has 250 watts at their disposal at 8 ohms. But like I said, this is never going to need that. This is really the only thing that's going to need that wattage. But you have to power each one individually. But yeah, you could, if you feel like this needs more power, because you're not going to listen at a loud volume, you're going to listen at a low volume, but you want that bass response to come through at those low volumes, then you should be in that 400 watt per channel range. And again, never going to need it up here, but that's why the crossovers are there. It's just going to look at it and go, I just need a quarter watt, or I need a tenth of a watt. This is the thing that's going to need that power, so it should be balanced. We don't like the idea of going big here, smaller here, smaller here. That doesn't make sense. Keep it even.
Consistent.
Yeah. So if you like Macintosh 452s, if you like Class A, you go with the Delta stereos, or if you really want to go big, you can go with Delta monos. But the stereos, I think what we just heard, I've never heard it where we need more. Never heard it where we need more. And again, this is not a concert speaker. You're not pushing 130 dB. That's not what these are for. This is to enjoy and experience music the way it was meant to be experienced, which is as close to live as possible. Any other questions? Yes?
Can we hear a song, a particular song?
No, because we are shutting down and we have a dinner appointment that we have to get to. 6
Can we
o'clock,
have
the show is
another
actually
one?
over.
Can we have another one?
It's 6 o'clock.
Shows.
We have
ends
to
at
go.
6.
We have to go. Yeah. Yeah.
Accurate.
See how good I am? I got that down to the minute.
Really?
But thank you all for coming in, and I'm glad you all got to experience Nautilus, because that is something that's really special to get to experience.
This is very rare. This is the first time.
Ever.
I've seen these speakers.
It's the first time we've ever demoed these at an audio show in Canada, ever.
Okay.
Ever.
So who designed it? Is it Vivid Guy?
It was
Yes.
John Bowers' idea,
Okay.
but it was Lawrence Dickey. Lawrence Dickey was he's the guy that came up with the idea of the spiral to get that sound wave to dissipate. But it was John Bowers' concept of a cabinetless speaker. But Lawrence Dickey was the one that actually brought it to life and made it a reality.
Okay.
Okay?
Oh, that's good.
So.